Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to cover the definition, meaning of international relations. What is difference between international relations and international politics? What is the scope of IR? These things will be covered in this lecture. IR is quite a versatile subject as it covers your many areas. If you are the aspirants of CSS, PMS or PCS, you must go through with international relations or with political science. But I think IR is better choice. So let's start. What is definition of IR? International relations. IR. It looks that there are two terms, international and relations, but actually there are three terms here. Literally there are three terms. Number one, inter, it means between, in between, inter, nation, nation or nations. It means people, states or countries, whatsoever you want to say. Relations, now this word means dealings. Dealings are interaction. So there are three terms: inter, between, nation, people are the states, relations, dealings are interaction. Simply or literally, the meaning of IR is the dealings or interaction are the relations between nations or between the states. It's the literary meaning of international relations that IR is the relationship or the dealings between the states. It was quite old definition, right? When the word IR was coined by the famous English political scientist Jeremy Bentham. When Jeremy Bentham, the famous English political scientist, when he coined the word IR. So at that time IR used to cover only the engagement between the sovereign states or the nations. But nowadays, with the advancement of science and technology, communication, trading sector, the scope of IR has become quite wider. It will be incorrect to say that IR only covers the dealings or the engagements between the states. It's wrong nowadays. But today, IR covers or it's a dealings, it is engagement between nations, states. Apart from that, international organizations like the United Nations, OIC, European Union, SAARC, ASEAN, whatsoever we are having, and NGOs, multinational companies. So these are things, they come under the scope of IR nowadays. So IR covers quite big area. Apart from its states or the people or the nations, it also covers the dealings between international organizations, NGOs, etc. Is it not clear? Should we move further? If we study the IR, then we must know what is nation, what is nation state, what is a state. Simply, nation state and nation state and nation. Listen now, what is a nation? Nation is a group of people, a group of permanent people, in fact, living in a particular area, share same religion, same culture, traditions, way of living is called a nation. As in India, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan said in 1868 that the Muslims are a separate nation as they have their separate way of living from the Hindus, their own religion. So nation, a permanent population living in a particular area, when they share the same way of living, tradition, customs, we call it as a nation then. What is a state? There is particular definition of a state in international law. There are 4 elements of a state. Which are those? Number 1, a nation, in a state, there must be a permanent population. Number 2, a well-defined geographical territory. As in Pakistan, we say there is India to the east of Pakistan, the boundary is called Red Cliff Line, and to the west, northwest Afghanistan, the boundary is called Durand Line. There is also Iran, southwest of Pakistan, to our northeast, China, our south, Indian Ocean. So now Pakistan has got a well-defined geographical territory. So number 2, second number element of the state is a well-defined geographical territory. Third one is your self-govern, your own government. You must be your own rulers, not the others should rule over you. And the fourth one is your sovereignty. You must become sovereign. So it is a state now. Simply I said that population is also a nation and a state. A nation has a permanent population, a particular area or land, not a well-defined, but a state possesses a well-defined, geographical territory. Coming towards nation state, now what is that? This term means a nation, a single nation lives inside a state. That state then is called a nation state, right? And this concept was given after the Treaty of Westphalia. You must know that. Treaty of Westphalia. In fact, international relation, its scope emerged from this treaty when we have got the concept of nation-state system in the world community. What is Treaty of Westphalia? There was a religious war in European countries between 2 famous sects of Christian community, Catholics and Protestants. For 30 years, from 1618 to 1648, the religious wars were fought there, and they came into end in Treaty of Westphalia. So Treaty of Westphalia removed or brought the end of the religious wars in European countries. What is Westphalia? Westphalia is the northwestern part of Germany. The German boundary with Netherlands and Belgium, that part of Germany is Westphalia. The famous city Bonn city is also in Westphalia. So in 1648, we have got the concept of a nation-state system in the world. Though in Pakistan, we are having many different traditions, cultures, as we say Sindhi, Punjabi, Baloch, Pashtun, etc. But because of Islamic point of view, because of religious concept, Pakistan is considered as a nation-state. So this concept emerged after the Treaty of Westphalia, 1648. It was signed in modern Germany. Now, what is the difference between international politics and international relations? You must know that what we cover in international politics, we only, say that international politics only covers your official dealings, your official engagement called diplomatic relations. Your diplomacy, the official engagement between the states is called international politics. But if we talk about IR, in the beginning, as I said, IR, as like political, international politics used to cover the official engagements or diplomacy, as its literary meaning is the engagement are the dealings between the states. But today, IR not only covers international politics, IR also covers your history, your geography, your environment, your weaponization, your military strategies, your behavior. International law also comes under international relations. So IR has now become a quite wide area. It's quite a versatile, discipline, if I would say. The famous English scholar or the political scientist, if I say, Alfred Zimmermann. Alfred Zimmermann has rightly said, Alfred Zimmermann, he said that IR is a bundle. It is a bundle of many subjects: history, international law, international politics, geography. So many areas they are covered by international relations, right? Moving further, now what is the scope of IR? Similarly, the scope of IR has become quite wide. What is the scope of IR? As I said that in the beginning, IR used to cover only the engagement or the dealings between the states. It used to cover the diplomatic relations only. It's good somehow. Today it covers diplomatic relations. We also call them the official relations, right? Apart from that, now with the advancement of science, technology, communication, trade, transportation, the scope of IR has become quite wider, right? Suppose how after the First and Second World War, what happened there? In the beginning, IR used to cover your diplomatic relations or your official engagements, but now, when I say that after the First World War, what happened? We got the League of Nations. The League of Nations. And after the Second World War, what we got? We got the United Nations Organization. This means that IR also covers your intergovernmental, international, as well as your regional organizations. League of Nations, United Nations Organization, and European Union, OIC, SAARC, ASEAN. Your every bloc, alliance, organization also comes under international relations. Now, what happened after the Second World War? We have got what? We have got nuclear era. There is a race regarding nuclear weapons emerged after the Second World War when the USA dropped atom bombs on Japan, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So now this simply means IR also covers your nuclear era, your military, your strategic behavior, strategic study. It also covers the behavior of leaders, right? So nuclear era, strategic study, behavior of leaders also cover, these are also covered by international relations. Apart from that, as I said, that IR has become now quite a versatile area, quite wide area. It also covers. Then what happened? After the Second World War, what happened? We got the economic institutions like IMF and World Bank. There was what? There was Great Depression. We use the word Great Depression. It was the financial crisis of 1930s. It emerged from 1929 to 1939. The Great Depression. Because of that, we have IMF and World Bank. We also call them the Bretton Woods, right? So then what emerged? They started giving loans to the needy countries. As a result, what happened? There happened economic imperialism. Somehow they also supported Somehow the developing or the third world countries are also supported by World Bank or IMF, but the USA or the IMF, when they give you the loans, then they also interfere in your internal matters. This engagement is also called as economic imperialism. So this thing also comes under international relations. Now then we had what? Cold War between the former Soviet Union and the USA, right? And then what we have nowadays, war on terror, terrorism, right? It also comes under international relations. And today we are having global warming. So I mean to say simply, today global warming, your trade, your dealings, your NGOs, everything is covered by international relations. Therefore, the scope of IR has become quite wider, and this scope will also be increasing in the future with the new developments and inventions. This is what we have regarding today's lecture. If you are having any kind of difficulty, you can comment there. We will have a video on those topics or comments, right? Till that, Allah Hafiz.